Hey guys, it's TJ here from 812 Recovery. Before I get started today, I just ask that you please, if you would like and subscribe to my channel. The more people I get to subscribe, the more I get to put this out there. My hopes is just that I'll be able to get our word out on, on the basis of recovery and in our community, and maybe it'll take off in other communities. But without further ado, I went in, whenever I came into recovery in 2017, I met this guy, and he's a pure example of working the program, and he has some years clean, and I just wanted to, I wanted you guys to hear his story. And this is Chuck.
And I'm Chuck Hedge, grateful recovering addict.
Alrighty, Chuck. So I just want to get down. You never know who's part of my program, anyways. We do it for the recovering addict, but a lot of people don't think about the actual families. So maybe there's someone out there struggling. That they've almost lost hope for a loved one. So maybe this will give them some hope. Maybe later on.
Oh.
How long was your extent to your addiction?
I picked up the first time, probably when I was about 9 years old. I smoked marijuana and started drinking drinking alcohol. But when I crossed the line of addiction, I think I was 13 years old when I let somebody stick a needle in my arm. And that's when I walked in their room and there was a pile of white stuff around, and asked how I could do something. They said, you gotta do it in your arm with a needle. And I stuck my arm out and let somebody stick a needle in my arm. So,
At 14?
At 13.
At 13 years old.
Yeah. And I didn't get clean. I didn't start this journey until I was 28 years old.
Until you was 28.
Yeah.
So as far as your childhood, how was that?
My dad drank quite a bit. I didn't get along with him. I had long hair. Only time he liked for me to be around is whenever I was willing to help him do something. Other than that, my family, my opinion, my family, they were still having kids, but they quit raising kids. Yeah. One time I was born. So we had 10 kids. I got 7 sisters and 2 brothers.
So, when did you first identify as an addict? When did you know that you had a problem?
Oh, I didn't think I had a problem until my dad died in '82, and I had 4 or 5 arrest warrants for me, and someone suggested that I go down to Evansville to detox at a stepping stone, and at that time it was at 6th and Cherry Street, and it was just a 10-day dry out. And I went down there and told them I had a problem with alcohol. And my first stint in the program, of any program, was in AA. And I just, I thought, I could smoke pot and hang out and do everything else, just quit drinking. And it didn't work. But
how long did that last you?
About 4 months.
About 4 months.
But I would sit around the kegger and I'd smoke pot and salivate watching other people drink beer. But I did everything else. I just didn't drink beer, and it was kind of crazy. And I went back out, like I said, it lasted 4 months. I went back out, and about 4 years after that, I was back in Vincennes. Because I did a lot of hitchhiking. From about the age of 20 to 28, I was up and down the eastern coast with my thumb and hanging out and partying with anybody and everybody that would hang out with me long enough. They get tired of me and kick me out and take me down the highway and drop me off. But I don't know. Like I said, I was back in Vincennes. Of course, I had arrest warrants again. So I did the same thing. I went to Evansville, went back to Stepping Stone, which was still 10-day. And one of the crazy things this time is I met a lady in there who was a recovering drug addict. And she sat and talked to me and asked me if I had a problem besides alcohol. Of course, at first I said no, and then she goes, "Well, why you got pot earrings that have pot leaves on them, and a necklace that has a pot plant on it?" But I sat and talked to her, and she convinced me that not only was I an alcoholic, but I was an addict as well. And of course, that's when I broke down, got serious, and told her everything. And I did good for a while, for about 11 months, maybe 12 months. Then I was working a job. I got a sponsor. Used him for the wrong reason. He gave me rides, loaned me money, bought me cigarettes, and got me a job. But I never worked steps. And like I said, about 11, 12 months into that stint, I started, for some strange reason, I had the idea that I could smoke pot. I could nothing but smoke pot, I'll be okay. You know. The job that I was at was a moving company, and for some strange reason, the boss's son told me it was okay if I took it with me and smoked it when I was on it. When I was in the hotel room, I could roll a hooter and go take a walk and get high. Well, come find out that he didn't like it because we were going to like Chicago and St. Louis and places like that, and he didn't like me leaving him in the hotel room by himself because I'd just take off walking and get high and come back. But I was told that I was going to lose my job at the end of the year if I didn't, you know. So I went in and talked to the main boss. His name was Frank, I won't say last name. And he told me I either had to give up smoking pot or quit work. I was on a Wednesday, I told him I'd be in Friday, pick up my check. And I went and got me a plane ticket and hopped on a plane and flew to Florida. And I lived down there for about 9 months. And I was only down there about 30 days. And I mean, it was mushroom season. For all of you out there that know, you know what mushroom season is. I was eating mushrooms, we were doing cocaine, and I mean, I was full blown. In probably 2 weeks' time, I was full blown, probably worse than what I was before. And I was there about 6 months and got thrown through a window, got all cut up. When I came through out of that blackout, I was in the hospital, and they couldn't even do surgery on me because I had so many drugs in me. They waited to detox me before they took me into surgery, and then I ended up being in there 9 days. On the 9th day, I finally asked the doctor. Actually, on the 8th day, I asked the doctor, I said, well, you know, when can I get out of the hospital? He said, well, when you quit pushing that button. And that was the morphine button. I said, just take it out. I said, I really don't need it. I'm just pushing it, you know, because I'm bored in there. You know, I wanted to get high. You know. And that started a crazy trip. And I was out there then for about 4 years. I mean, all over again, you know, Dayton, Ohio, Buffalo, actually East Aurora, New York, and just a lot of different places I ended up finding myself. Because I always ran. Oh, you know, I thought hitchhiking and being out there was freedom, but in reality, when I got clean this time, I realized I was just trying to run for myself, and everywhere I went, I found myself. And but it was in 1990. My last arrest was in 1989. For all of you around here, you know where US 41 is, in between Hazleton and Vincennes, and I went to a kegger in Hazleton, and on the way back, I was with 3 other guys, and I wanted out of the car for some strange reason, and at first they wouldn't do it, and they finally started slowing down, pulled over the side of the road, got down about 20 miles an hour, and opened the back door, and I just jumped out. And they took off, and the time they got up so far and turned around and come back, I was already being chased by the state policeman. I guess I was out in the middle of the road, and semi was calling cops on me and all that stuff. So, but the cop who chased me down and beat me, drugged me back to the car. His name was Mooney. When I had 5 years clean this time, I sent him, and like I said, I was in '89, and I went to court in 1990. I didn't get clean in '89. I got clean in May the 15th, 1990 is my recovery date. This time, and I hope and pray that it stays that way. But we're never guaranteed anything, you know. So, but like I said, when I got clean, I mean, I went to the courthouse. Judge Osborne, for the ones that you probably know him, he's retired now, but he was a good old guy. And instead of sending me to prison, he sent me over to sweet Linda Morowski. And I got to talk to her, and last time I was in her office, I was afraid that when I walked in, she was going to send me back to him, send me to prison, but she gave me a chance. She told me I just needed to get off my lazy butt and start working a program. And she gave me the meeting list for AA and NA, and told me that was on May the 15th, and there was a meeting that night, and I started going to meetings, and I went to meetings for the first 2 years, probably every night I went to that meeting. And it took that from me. And I went to both fellowships, you know, and if you need a meeting, go to a meeting. It don't matter what fellowship, just go to a meeting. You know, today I go to strictly NA, but that's my choice, you know. But like I said, when I had 5 years clean, I sent a thank you card to Linda Morowski, to Judge Osborne, and to Terry Mooney, this cop at the time. He was a state policeman. And the only reply I got was from the judge. He said, you know, he actually wrote me back and said thanks. It was the first time he ever gotten a thank you card from anybody that's ever come through his court system. And because most time he sends you to jail, and he sent me to jail quite a few times. You know, hell, I spent, I don't know, all total, if I added it up one time, it was a little over 3 years in jail time. You know, Knox County Jail, Lawrence County Jail, jail in Calhoun, Georgia, jail in Indianapolis, jail in Evansville. For some strange reason, when I went places, I like to visit their free hotels. And,
3 hops on a cot.
yeah, but yeah, I got this time. Like I said, I got involved in service work. My first sponsor, his name was Kenny. He got me real involved in service work. Now I couldn't understand why sitting at a door, introducing myself, and talking to people as they went downstairs would keep me sober. Because it was an AA meeting at that time that I was doing it at. But within 30 days, I could go down in the bottom of that meeting. There'd be 65 people down there, and everybody down there knew my name. You know, he'd have me, he wouldn't make me, because you can't make nobody do nothing. But he had me stay after the meetings, and at that time, you could smoke cigarettes in the meeting. So we clean ashtrays, and we'd clean coffee pots, and I'd complain the whole time, you know, cleaning up after all these lazy people. But it got me involved in service, and I've been doing service ever since. I don't know, I like recovery. You know, I've always have. Everybody I sponsor, I try to get them involved in service work, you know, because you meet a lot of people. I've met people throughout all the state of Indiana and Illinois, you know, and a few people in Kentucky just by doing service work. You know, I have a lot of fun in recovery. I like going to conventions. I don't know, like I said, you know, the more people you meet, the bigger your foundation is. I've taken people to conventions like in, you know, Indianapolis or over in Illinois, go to a convention, and people there are amazed because we walk in, you know, there might be 500 people there and 100 of them know me.
Yeah.
You know, and they say, man, how do you know so many people? Well, it's just because I go and I tell people, you know, you can get Vincennes has great recovery. It really does.
It does, absolutely.
That has great recovery, but it's not all recovery. You know, it's not. You know, Narcotics Anonymous does not just exist in Vincennes. It's everywhere. I've been blessed. I've been to world conventions. We were looking forward to going to Australia this year, but for some strange reason it got canceled. I think it was something about the virus. But the next world convention is going to be in Washington, D.C. As long as they tear the fence down, don't leave the fence up, we're okay. ISNAC, which is the Indiana State Narcotics Anonymous Convention, got canceled this year. But next year it's going to be in Fort Wayne, so I'll be going to it. But yeah, I mean, I still have a sponsor. I've worked steps. I've always believed in working steps. The sponsor I have now, I got step 8 done. I've had it done for a while, but we need to hook up and get over with so I can get on moving on. I have 2 sponsees. Both of them are working steps. One of them just got done with the step 8. The other one, we're getting ready to go over his step 4. But
can you explain to people like what a sponsor is?
For me, a sponsor is my sponsor is just someone who guides me, and if I have a problem, I can call him and get a little bit of a solution. And it's not everything that a sponsor will tell you will work in your life, but it definitely helps guide you through life and helps you guide you through recovery. You know, I could not do this. Still today, I cannot do this. With 30 years clean, I don't want to try to do it without a sponsor, without a fellowship, without people in my life that, you know, want to help me. You know, because that's what we do. We just help one another, and I get more help probably from my sponsees than anybody. Yeah. You know, because when they share stuff with me, I'll share back with them. I'll never. I mean, you can ask the ones that I sponsor that I talk too much. Probably that's the reason why our steps take a long time to get done. Some people say, "Oh yeah, it took me an hour to do step 2." Well, it took us 3 hours. That's because we talk a lot and share a lot. And but I want to get to know people. You know, and the easiest way for me to get to know people is to ask questions and to talk to people. Yeah. You know, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where else to go except for if you haven't given NA a try or recovery of any kind, try it. At least try it. You know, when I first got clean, they would tell you, you know, if it don't work, go back out. Misery is there. It will be waiting on you. You know, all you got to do is look in the mirror and you can see misery. When you're out, I did anyway. When I was out there using. I hated the person I seen in the mirror. Today, I like the person in the mirror. You know, I like the fact that, you know, I can wake up in the morning and I can remember exactly what I did last night.
Absolutely.
You know,
I was telling some people last night. We was actually reading on reservations, and how it works out and why. It was saying it was talking about after you met your expectations, we tend to go back out, and I kind of put that in like the notion that how many people do we see that come in through work release, just got out of jail and land, or drug court, it's like after they graduate, they end up going back out. Not all of them, but, it seems more than not, am I right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it's like, you were just saying, I told him I was talking to him last night, I said, man, just give out an honest try, work a program to the best of your abilities for a year, go to at least 3 meetings a week and see what happens. Yeah. It's just, how would you, all right, let's say, we got a viewer out there and they got a son who's on drugs, they got a husband. What's the best solution if you got someone living in your house that's using and they're just destroying your life? You know what I mean?
Oh, I can say, like, my mother, at the end, I'd show up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning strung out, and she'd flip the light on and see it was me, and then flip it back off and go back to bed and cry because she wouldn't let me in the house. Because she knew if she let me in the house, I was going to keep on stealing stuff from her and stuff. But yeah, if you got somebody out there, give them literature to begin with. Take them to, if you have to, force them to go to at least one meeting. And then sooner or later, it's either and you can ask my wife, I called the police on our 16-year-old daughter because she had marijuana and brought in the car that my name was on, and I called the cops, and they took her to youth village. Did she get clean? No, she didn't get clean, but she's clean now. And that's that plan to see that she knew that I'm serious about my recovery. I'm not going to allow people to bring drugs or alcohol into my house. Now it might be hardcore, and people probably think I'm hardcore, but that's okay. It works for me. With your expectations, they always say, a death of a family member, but I was privileged. When I was 12 years old, I got to hold my mom's hand when she passed away. She took her last breath, and I got to hold her hand while she was doing it. For me, that's a blessing, because when my dad passed away, that's one of the reasons why I got clean. Because I was at his funeral, and I don't even remember being there. They have pictures of me being there, but I don't remember being there. I was too fried out of my mind. But that happened, and I was in a relationship. I was in it for about 5 years, and things went south. I moved out. Come to find out that she was having affairs or whatever you want to call it with other people in the program. So I got out of that relationship. And I'm married today, and I've been married for 23 years, but we've had trouble in our relationship. We have a great relationship, but they talk about in our readings, about going out, seeking help from the outside, fellowship. Sometimes you have to do that. We've gone to marriage counseling twice. And both times, so far it's worked, and it kept us together. Because you're always going to have life. You get clean, everything don't turn roses. You have problems, and those are some of the problems we had. And we've got 3 children, and all 3 children have had run-ins with alcohol and drugs. And as of today, all of them are pretty well clean. They did it on their own different ways. I don't like to say that they sit in the rooms in Alcoholics Anonymous with me, but they don't. Probably because I'm there. And that's okay. But they have come to the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. But yeah, now I pray for our grandkids. We got 9 grandkids. I hope none of them go out there. But if they do, I hope the rooms in Alcoholics Anonymous and there are rooms of 12-step programs out there for them.
Absolutely.
Because no matter what happened, you can't. They will never stay clean just because of me. We can't get nobody clean. All we can do is share the message.
Absolutely. Speaking on, what do you do daily to help you stay clean?
Well, just like today, when I woke up this morning, one of the first things I did was once I did my hygiene stuff, I went in there and set my recliner, and I broke out the Just for Today meditation book. I read it, and today I'm a believer in the Bible. Prior I wasn't, but first 10 years I wasn't, but I am today. But I read 4 pages out of the Bible today, and I pray and I ask my higher power. And your higher power can be whoever you want it to be, but mine today is Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I ask him, to help me stay clean today and guide me through my life. And if it's his will, to let me know what his will is. Because some days I don't want to know what his will is. Because if I know what his will is, I probably won't want to do it. So it's best for, some days for him to just stand in the background and say, kind of guide me through bumps and bruises. Because I've had quite a few of them in the program.
So another thing I wanted to ask you, because whenever I first came in the program, I had a problem with that as well. I believed in God, Jesus and all that, but how could he be real with me going through everything, So to anybody who might be out there wanting to come in the program or whatever, what would you, how would you better describe God? Because whenever you come in, you hear the word God and you're thinking, your higher power, correct me, your higher power, what would you call your higher power? What was your higher power when you first got in the program?
When I first got here, like I said, when I walked in, I was not religious. And I actually told people who would talk about their God in a religious form, I'd tell them to get up and get out of here, and I'd always quote that where this is a spiritual program, not a religious program. And I would tell them that, and I'd tell them to get up and get out. And I took the group that I was attending at that time, and I still attend my home group, which is the best home group in the world, which is 30-hour group in Alcoholics Anonymous. If you don't believe so, go find you another home group. If your home group ain't the best one, but mine is, and that's what I took. That was my higher power for the first 10 years, and it took that long for me to find another higher power, because I was definitely, I don't know what I was, but I didn't believe. I knew there was something out there. And I believe there was something out there that kept me alive, because, the things that I've done when I was out there in active addiction, I shouldn't be here. The things I've done in recovery, I probably shouldn't be alive. My wife always said I was crazy. I was a daredevil. I'd jump off of bridges, and even with the NA group, we go canoeing and stuff. We'd be jumping off bridges and off cliffs and doing stuff that, normal people probably don't do, but it was okay. We did it, and I did it, but I don't know. One thing, like I said, you're gonna have bumps and bruises. I've had both my knees operated on. In 2016, I bumped my head having fun with my grandkids and ended up with a brain bleed and ended up having brain surgery. And that was probably my wife. We filled out one of these things, and the last time I cried was probably that in 2016. I'm not much of a crier, but I cried then because I was in so much pain, and. I did not want to be on pain medication, and I went to the doctor, and instead of being on pain medication, I got shots in my rear. So that way, I did not control the medication. He gave me 2 shots. I don't remember what they were, but one in each hip, and then set me up with a doctor up in here at Good Sam, who gave me an epidural. And today, I believe in epidurals. The needle kind of scary, but it's going in my back, so I don't have to look at it. But it definitely works wonders for me. I've had 3 of them now since 2016. But since then, like I said, this last year, 2019, May of 2019, I fell off my shed and broke my back. I'm lucky, I'm blessed that I'm actually walking today.
Absolutely. I remember in that meeting. Do you remember I said, I was up on the roof and I was getting leaves off the roof, and I said, what would happen if you had a seizure and fell off the roof? And that next day you happened to fall off the roof and we were talking about that. How ironic is that?
I know, it's kind of crazy. But I broke my T12 and my L1, and they actually wrapped me in a sheet like a mummy and told me not to move because my T12 was broken bad enough that if I would have moved a certain way, it could have cut my spine, split my spine in half. So.
Yeah.
So
that's another one of the positive things about the program. I remember whenever I fell out of the ceiling and broke my hip, I was on drugs real bad, and no one came up to see me. My family, but that was it. Man, whenever that happened, I had an aneurysm too, and there was just so many people there, that it was overwhelming, and they actually cared, their heart's in it, They'll give you a ride, they'll take you to do things. Doug and Nancy, they took me up there to Indianapolis to go see my doctor. And they didn't just take me there and drop me off and say, hey, call me when you're done. They went in there with me, you know. So it's true love, you know what I mean? And I was looking for it all those years, and then I happened to find it, you know, and walking out of the room, you know. And it's just incredible how, you know, our lives change. And I remember hearing Doug say, we get a front row seat to the miracles, you know. And, you know, whenever I was first in there, I didn't understand it. But now, you know, you can just see it, you know. And, but also as you have all these positives, you know, life happens, you know, you have your life on life's terms, and we see people passing away, you know, and it's just, it's happening a lot, you know. You know, life is real short, you know, and I'm glad that I got to find this program, you know, and meet people like Chuck, you know. One last question, you know, looking back from the day that you started the program to now, can you explain what you have in your life? Both monetarily and, like, you know what I'm saying, what do you have that's different from that day one, from day one to now? What is different?
Almost everything. But the main thing is, like I was saying earlier, you know, when I first walked in the program, when I looked in the mirror, I hated myself. Today I can look in the mirror and I actually care about the person that I'm looking at. And me and my wife, one time we went to a convention and we bought a little sticker that we put on our mirror. It said very simply, you are looking at the problem. You know, and not only was I looking at the problem, I was looking at the solution. Because I'm the only one that can make the decisions over my life. And that's another thing. I have choice today. When I walked in, I had no choice. I truly believe if you're a true addict and you're out there using, until you find recovery, you don't have a choice to use. You use because you have to. You know, today, through recovery, I found out that I do have choices. You know, and but monetarily, I mean, we own a home, we have vehicles, we got money in the bank. Like I said, we're going on 2 vacations this year, and those are things that aren't guaranteed, but those are things that you can work for. You know, today, you know, I work everything that I just told you about. I worked and I paid for it. Nobody gave it to me. I don't like handouts. I'm not I hate to say it, but you know, I know people, a lot of people in the program will buy you a book and give you a book. I don't buy books and give books away to people. I show people how to spend their money and buy their book to be the part of their life. You know, because for me, when the first 2 times I came in a fellowship, people would give me books, and when I went back out to use, I threw the books in the trash. Yeah. You know, today every book that I have, you know, and I've gotten over 30 years, either in my bookcase or I've given them to other people who has clean time, you know, long-term clean time for reasons. You know, I had 2 books signed by Father Martin. I gave one to Tom, you know, because I knew Tom was an AA book thumper. So I love Tom, but he is a book thumper. He can quote books, verse, and I can't. And that's something I don't do. You know, I can't quote the Bible, and I can't quote the basic text or the AA Big Book. You know, I can't tell you a verse and chapter, but I do live them, and I do read them. Still today, I still read them. You know, mine don't have dust on them. You know, you can tell where I've actually been reading them. I mean, I've been reading them, and I have highlights in them. You know, because there are some things you can read over and over. That's my wife. We went on vacation to Destin, Florida, I think 3 years ago. My sister, my Just for Today is taped up and put together with Gorilla Glue tape. And my sister said, how long have you been reading it? And I said, I read it every day. She goes, every day? I said, well, yeah, it's a daily meditation, so I read it every day. She goes, well, how many years have you been reading it? I said, I don't know. I said, this book here is probably about 15 years old. So the one prior to that I had to give away, throw it away because it fell apart on me, so I had to buy a new one. She goes, so you read it every day? I said, yes. You know, and I do. And you can read them. You can read literature over and over and get something out of it every time. And just like working the steps, I'm going through the steps now. This is my 9th time. I know it's 30 years, 9 times. I don't mean a whole lot, but each time I don't know, for me, the first time I went through all of them in like a year and a half, 2 years. I went through all 12 steps. And each time it takes a little bit longer because I study it a little bit longer, and I don't know, I meditate on it a little bit longer, and it just I get deeper into it. Yeah. But and like I said, this time I'm going through it, and you get something out of it every time you go through it. You know, each step, you can get something out, and you can work each step on all problems. It don't have to be just drugs and alcohol. You can work it on marriage. You can work it on food. I quit smoking cigarettes when I had 2 years clean. you know, and I worked the program with it, you know, because I was a 2.5 pack of cigarettes a day smoker, you know, and my sponsor told me how to do it, and that's how I did it, and I haven't smoked a cigarette for 28 years now, so.
I'm slowing down on it. I know
There you
that.
go. You'll get
They
there.
have to chant it.
Hey, whatever it takes, as long as you don't use it, right? As long as you don't pick up.
So, you know, before I close this, anybody out there struggling, what would be your advice to them right now?
Go to a meeting, pick up a white key tag, and tell people you need help. You know, nobody knows you want help or need help unless you reach out. You know,
Absolutely.
I tell people all the time, you can come to the meeting, you can sit in a chair, you can say nothing, you can do nothing, and when you get up, most likely you'll take nothing with you.
Absolutely.
Because you ain't leaving nothing. You know, if you come in and you have a problem and you share, and what I really hate is when someone will come in and sit in a meeting and share a problem and get up and go outside and smoke a cigarette. How in the hell are you going to hear a solution if you don't sit there and listen for a solution? If you're going to share a problem, listen for a solution.
Absolutely.
You know, because you never know, you know. And I had a friend tell me one time, actually it was a sponsor, one of my sponsors. I'm working on like sponsor number 10. But I had a sponsor tell me one time, you know, it's a person you don't like. It's a person you need to shut your eyes and listen to.
Yeah.
Because that person might be telling you
No,
something
that's
that
true.
and telling you something that you need to hear. You know, and I've done that. I do that, you know. Not all the time that my eyes are closed. It's not because I don't like it. Sometimes it's just I'm tired. Because I've actually done it. I said that before, and next person shared, I was closing my eyes, and he looked at me and said, "You don't like me?" I said, "No, I'm just tired." But when it is, I mean, you need to listen. That's, you know, 90% of the program is listening, and it's listening at meetings, listening to your sponsor, listening to your higher power. It's always listening, you know, because I didn't know crap when I got here. I'm glad I didn't cuss there. But I didn't know anything when I got here. You know, everything I know today, I learned from other people by listening to what they shared. You know, because and that's everything. I mean, working, saving money, paying bills. You know, I was $40,000 in debt when I got here. I asked my sponsor what I should do. Yeah, you know, at the time I had a job making $3.10 an hour. That was minimum wage. He said, if you think you can do it, file bankruptcy, but if you do, don't ever buy anything if you can't pay for it. And it cost me, I think, $1,400 to get rid of $40,000 in debt. Since then, everything I bought, I paid off ahead of time. I've never paid a late payment, knock on wood, in my whole life. Since I've been clean. 30 years, I've never paid one late payment.
Amen.
So.
Right on. Well, that's going to conclude this episode. Real quick, if you would, if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. I'd like to get this out there to as many people as I can. And if you're on Facebook, please share and just let everybody know, you know, what's going on here. But until next time, I'll see ya.
Stay clean.